Good morning, everyone. This morning, it's not going to be a very intense session. It's going to be a very gentle warm up to what is going to unfold during the course of the day. I'm going to start up this presentation, open this day with a quick talk on what it means for business to go through changes and how culture is an important aspect of growth as a company grows, and how Zoho can help you, tide over these tremendous change that comes in as you grow. It's a very simple session. It's going to be very, very, like I said, a nimble one. And so, what is culture, right? I mean, culture is to business what character is to an individual. And when you talk about growth, you're actually perpetuating culture. In terms of business, you want to have the right people come to your, join you, and then hit the ground running. You want them to adopt to your culture because that's the only way they are going to be a part of the success and the growth that you're having. So, what are the attributes of culture in the context of business? The first thing is decision. And what am I talking about in terms of decision? How do you process, how does the leadership in the company process the signals that it receives from within the company, from outside the company, and arrive at decisions, and how quickly they do it? That's a critical part of a company's culture. The second aspect or the second attribute of culture in the context of business is engagement. How do you engage your customers, your employees, your partners, your vendors, and all the constituents that actually make your business, right? And the third attribute of culture is measurement. How do you measure your business, be it people or be it business as a whole? For example, there are companies that kind of look at PE ratios to measure themselves. There are companies that look at productivity in terms of revenue per employee to measure themselves. Now, from a HR perspective, you're looking at how do you measure people? Is it always about the projects, how well they have executed on projects, how timely have they been on execution of, let's say, products that they put out? And then finally, style. What is the work culture or the style of working within each department in a company? These essentially constitute the culture as far as a business is concerned. Now, one of the things that happens, so as you start growing as a business in terms of revenue and whatnot, the next step is to add people. Now, growth in terms of people means you're bringing in more people who have to adopt to your culture. And that growth, essentially, wherein you bring in more people, as I said earlier, it's perpetuating a culture is what a company's growth is all about. And this is a huge change. This growth of bringing in people who are going to work with you is going to herald a new change as far as the business is concerned. So let's look at a few aspects as far as human growth is concerned. And I'm going to take a use case from the HR perspective of a business and look at all the attributes of culture and how the tools can help you to kind of mold the business and go ahead with the business processes. So starting with a simple example here, let's say you want to hire or bring new talent into the company. Typically, it would be a request that is raised that is sent out to the HR department of your company. And then there's probably a workflow in terms of approvals, of multi-layer approvals, or a single tier approval. It really depends on what kind of business you run. And once the approval is secured, the next thing that you would do at that point is post the opening on websites, on different job boards. It could be social media, it could be websites, it could be a company's website. And also you would have a lot of employee referrals that would come in, right? And the output of this activity is that you would receive a lot of resumes, which you would want to process and you would want to maintain, and then assess the people for the resumes that you have received, and then do the interviews. And finally, if the candidate is the right candidate, you would make an offer that they cannot refuse, hopefully. And once the offer is made, you send out this document, the offer letter, and then you would want them to sign it. Once they sign the offer letter, they're on board with your company, and then you do the whole onboarding process. Now, once they are onboarded, once they become your employee, there are a few aspects of HR that comes into play. You would be managing a few important aspects of the human resource here. You would be managing their time. managing expenses, and empower them. So what does time management mean in the context of an employee being hired? You would want to track their attendance, you would want to track their leaves, you would also want to track the projects that they are working on in timesheets and whatnot. And in terms of managing finance, you would want to manage their expenses. And then, of course, the most important aspect of HR here is the payroll itself. And then the other aspect of empowerment of the employee that is onboarded is giving them the tools that they need to perform their tasks. It's engaging them using collaboration tools and whatnot. And finally, you should have a performance management system to review the employee on a yearly basis or a monthly, every 6 month, a quarterly basis, whatever that be. You need to be able to measure the employee's performance, right? Now, you would have tools for all these things in business. You would have tools for recruitment, you would have tools for people management, and then you would have tools for, let's say, document signing and whatnot. So what does this look like? At the end of the day, a simple scenario like this, it cuts across so many departments in your business, right? And then so many tools that come into play. So what can Zoho do here? Is there one single tool that can do this? So let's look at some of the tools that Zoho has to offer. From a people management perspective, if you want to have a centralized employee database, you want to have set up an approval workflow in your business, and then track time and performance, then you would use Zoho People. Now, an interesting aspect that comes into play here as I talk about approval workflows is, how is decision made in a business? Is it always through workflows? Is it always a hierarchy that is in place and that helps you to make decisions? Or is it going to be a real-time decision where you would use a collaborative platform like, let's say, an instant communication platform, or an internal social network wherein you would basically have a consensus-based decision-making process? So if I'm going to give you a tool that paints you in a corner because you need to have a hierarchy, that's a problem, because that's not the way your business functions, or maybe that's not the way your department would function. A classic example, in the sales and marketing department, decisions can be more real time. You could just go talk to your supervisor and get the job done. When it comes to the finance department and legal department, considering the fact that you need to have compliances and audits that are going to happen in these departments, you would want to have a very elaborate workflow in place so that you are compliant with all that is required. But at the same time, trying to give a hierarchical model to the sales and marketing team or other, let's say, product development teams, that's not going to cut it, because that's not the way they make their decisions. So what needs to happen, clearly, we have learned a lot of things. The way every department operates is different. Every product team operates is different. We need that freedom to innovate, right? So you cannot have a process in your business modeled on a tool. On the other hand, you need an adaptive tool that can adapt itself to your business, right? So let's look at the other aspects of what we offer. So we also looked at the recruitment part, candidate relationship management, because that's the operative word here, because you're now dealing with talent and you're nurturing them. It's no longer, oh, I have a job post, somebody responded to it, and I'm done with it. No. You want to have them tracked. You want to kind of reach out to them if there are new offers. Maybe there was a time they did not come on board for various reasons, but you still want this talent in your company because you know this is the right talent that you're going after. So you need to nurture these talents that you have. So in the context of human resources, CRM stands for Candidate Relationship Management, and you nurture all the candidates and all the people that come into your system. Now, it also has, as a part of Zoho Recruit, we have the ability to do assessment of all the people that are a part of your candidate database. You can also do one-to-one interviews, and then you also have now a new feature introduced here as I'm talking called Vendor Portal. So it's possible that as a corporation, as a large business, or maybe you're a niche business where you know there are certain staffing agencies that can find the right talent for you from world over. So they can come in and share their resources in their recruitment database with you. So that way, you're just not the only one scouting for talent. There are also other agencies around you that you work with who can help you with the talent that you're seeking. We talked about internal social network, Zoho Connect. So Zoho Connect is an internal social network platform wherein if you are an organization where you actually want to share a lot of information, it's pretty much like it has the constructs of a typical social network platform like a Facebook or Google. You can create groups, you can have department-specific groups, you can have information shared across different parts of the business in an open way. So a typical Zoho Connect post looks like this, very similar. Here, you have an individual in sales talking about taking a decision, and then you have the other people who are a part of his team coming in and saying, yes, we can do it. Yes, I mean, it's an interactive, consensus-based discussion platform based on which decisions are made. Now, the other tool that's used heavily within our own business is the Zoho Click, which is an instant communication platform. It's a real-time communication platform. It's just not putting a post passively and somebody logs in and looks at it. This is an instant communication platform wherein you can talk to your colleagues, you can talk to your supervisors in real time, and it's just not text chatting. You have a lot of things out there, including video conferencing. You can do audio calls. And by the way, if you're interested, you can also do a real-time screen share as you're talking to your colleagues. Let's say you're doing some design, you're working on a project, you want them to see what you've done. You can instantly share your desktop as you are on a call with them. The other tool that we have is the digital signature service. It's called the Zoho Sign. So this is a cute little service that we put out about a year and a half ago, extremely popular. And it really is, we are kind of building a lot of meat to this product. We are doing a lot of workflow-based document management within the system. And it looks like this, pretty versatile in the sense, in terms of the fact that you can specify what fields goes where, and then you can have the names, last name, first names, and signatures. And when it comes to signatures, you can actually take a picture of your hand signature and then incorporate that into documents and whatnot. And then for expense reporting, we have the Zoho Expense. Again, a very powerful tool. We use this all the time as people who are on the road. I travel for a longer time. I mean, I travel for 2 or 3 weeks. So 10 days of eating outside, taking my Ubers, and doing everything that I do get a lot of receipts. And by the time I fold them, keep them in my bag, go back to cool Montreal, or rather cold Montreal, most of the it's invisible ink, right? Those papers that they print on, they don't stay. And what do you do? What we do is you can instantly take pictures using your mobile, and in the Zoho Expense app, and it actually does scanning of your receipts. This is something that can then be organized very nicely into expense reports, as you can see here. So you can create expense report based on what you're doing. I now have in my expense account a Zoholics 2019 Austin report where I have already uploaded all my receipts. When I go home, all that I have to do is hit the submit button. It goes for reimbursements. Very effective. Again, it's a bit of discipline, but then it's fascinating because you no longer have to keep track of your invisible ink receipts. Payroll. So Zoho's payroll service is a new service, and at this point, we support payroll for US, but it's only limited to Texas and California. And in other places where we do not have this payroll service, available, we have a lot of integration. So if you look at Canada, we have integration with payroll providers in Canada. We have integration with payroll providers in Middle East and UK and whatnot. So real quick, what we have is a combination of tools to acquire and manage talent, to enable them and giving them the right tools to make decisions and collaborate within the organization. And finally, we have tools to take care of their expenses and whatnot. Zoho People Plus. So we have brought everything together as a suite now. And what happens is this is where it really comes to a point where you can adapt the tools to your business process. You really don't have to, typically what do software tools do? It exposes the lack of a process, right? If you don't have a process, the tools will break badly. Now, at that point, you have to think, is that the end of my business? The answer is no. Every business is different, every department is different. You need tools that are adaptive. And bringing together this whole people plus, we are actually bringing in our own experience in running the company. Like I said, the finance department, legal department have a different way of functioning. But if you look at every product team, oh my God, every product team is different. And we could never go through a hierarchical model. Some are hierarchical even within products, some are very flat. But you still have to respond, you still have to make decisions on a daily basis. These are the very aspects of culture that we started this conversation with. It has to perpetuate your culture. You need the right tools to perpetuate your culture. Otherwise, you're just going to lose the whole, advantage. You're just going to lose, or you're going to kind of delay the whole growth process for your company. So having that inherent understanding that as a business, everybody is different. I don't think there's any tool out here that can, fulfill all your needs. Even within People Plus, I'm sure there are ways wherein at one point it's going to reach its limits. But then the good news is, yeah, we have Zoho Flow, we have Deluge, we have Forms, and we do have a lot of customization capability in each and every one of the products that you see here. It's just not People, it's just not Recruit. Have you guys seen how powerful the integrations are in terms of bots, in terms of just pulling up an expense report or submitting expense report from within your Click? And that's so powerful. That's so useful for a lot of people as long as you learn the slash commands, going back to your DOS and Unix days. But we have the love for the past, and we have kept on to all those things. But essentially, it's pretty powerful in terms of what you can do within Click and within Connect. Each of these products has its own integrations, right? So that really makes the whole platform very versatile, and now it's available to you as a single bundle. Now, is this the only way this is available? What if I just want to use People? I have Zenefits. I don't need your expense. I don't need your Payroll. No problem. These are the options that we make available. You can actually choose based on where your business is. You can choose any of the individual apps and subscribe to that service, or you can go to People Plus as a complete platform for your HR solution, or go for the Holy Grail, Zoho One. So that's pretty much what I had at this particular session.